Hey my friend, this is Stone. I hope you're having a good day today, and I am trying something a little different. Last week I did my first webinar, and that's why you're seeing what you're seeing right now. You're going to hear my voice, but I'm going to be presenting information through a slideshow type format. This can be really good for retention and really good to be able to go back and look at information. And I got a lot of positive feedback on this last week, so I think this is going to be huge. I think it's going to be really helpful to you, especially because today we're really talking about reaching your goals faster, and we're really talking about utilizing time management in order to help you reach those goals faster. Specifically, I'm going to show you something that is an amazingly powerful tool, and it's called result orientation. Now, I'll start off by saying my wife and I got the opportunity last year to go on like this wilderness trek. And it was basically one where you go out in the woods, you've got your packs, you've got everything on your back that you need for the night, there's no trails, and you go out and you find a designated point you want to get to, you pitch your tent and cook your dinner and do everything kind of on your own and from your pack. And we had a blast doing it. However, whenever we started the journey, I did not realize just how wild it was going to be. You know, Bear Grylls makes this stuff look a lot easier than it really is in real life. And so we started off, and we are hacking through trees, man. I've literally got my hatchet out, and I'm trying to get to this location on my map. But because of all the brush and all the woods and how dense this area of forest was, you couldn't see but 5 or 6 feet in front of you at times. But I knew from the map that if I moved in this direction that I was going to get to the point we wanted to get to this clearing. And so how did I stay moving in that direction? Well, how I did it was with my compass. So I would look at the map, and then I would use my compass to orientate myself back to where I needed to go. And I noticed that if I didn't look at my compass for a while, whenever I finally did go back to it, we would be off course and I would need to course correct. So I noticed that if I really stayed on my compass, and as we walked, if I continued to make sure we were moving in the right direction, we were going to get to the goal that much faster, the ultimate place we were trying to get to. Well, if you look at result orientation, what it really is, if I want to use that parallel, the map is the ultimate result or the goal, right? That bullseye that you have on the map is the ultimate result or goal that you have that you're trying to reach. And result orientation is the action that's going to help you to reach your goal. That action becomes the compass that gets you there. Now that might sound really conceptual at this point, and I understand. That's why I'm doing this in a webinar format, so hopefully it will make more sense. Result orientation is not something you learn overnight. It's something that I have been practicing diligently for over 2 years, and it's something that I do every night. In fact, in my time management plan, it's really the last thing that I do every single night whenever I make my plan for the next day. And it takes me about 15 minutes to get done. And it has had huge impact, huge ramifications on me reaching my goals exponentially faster. And it will do the same for you if you just latch on, and even if you don't completely buy in, trying it out for yourself, because I guarantee you if you do that, you will get all in, and it will help you get where you want to go that much faster. So let's take a look here. Number one is that you first need to review your goals or ultimate result, because if we're going to result orient your actions, we have to know what we're result orienting them towards, right? We have to look at that map and say, is this the right map? And I just have a couple of guidelines. This is not a goal setting workshop. In fact, I have a couple of other videos that will really give you some good tools for goal setting. But let's review the fundamentals and what I call the 3 C's of having a goal or an ultimate result. The first is it has to be contributory to others. here's the thing, you can reach goals that don't contribute to other people, but when you do, if you do get there, you're going to find that you feel hollow. That's why people set goals and they work so hard towards them and they reach them, and then they find out that it doesn't fulfill them, that it's not worth it, and that's because it's not contributory to others. So that's really number one. Number two is that the goal has to be compelling and it has to be challenging, right? It has to stretch you outside of yourself in order to accomplish it. Because if a goal is too simple or too easy, the problem is that it doesn't create a fire, because we all have that within us to want to grow and become more. And if that goal doesn't do that for us, we're missing a huge part of the motivation to reach a goal or an ultimate result. So it has to be both compelling and it has to be challenging. And it's really the challenge, the difficulty, the stretch that makes that goal compelling. And then the third C is that it has to be clear and concise, okay? In order to have a good goal, you need to be really clear on what the bullseye is in the middle of the target. There's got to be a bullseye in order for you to aim for it, and it has to be concise, okay? It has to be simple, and you have to understand exactly where you're heading. So that's really the foundation of any goal. If you've completed these 3 C's and you've checked them off, then you're already on the right track. That's number one, to review your goals or ultimate results. Number 2 is that you need to identify actions that will move you toward your goals. So I have goals, stretch goals, for every area of my life. So I need to identify actions that are going to help move me toward those goals, that are going to help me to reach those goals. The first thing I do is review my current actions, and this is what you need to do. You need to look at the things that are already on your to-do list and see which ones are going to move you toward your goals. And you can put an asterisk by those so that you can keep track of which ones are going to move you toward your goals. Then number 2, pretty simply and organically, you need to create new actions that are going to move you toward your goals. So what is it that you need to do? What actions do you need to complete that you don't already have in your to-do or action list? And you need to create those actions, and then you need to also put asterisks by those as well. And then number 3 is you need to use the 50% rule. When I look at my to-dos, the goals that I have for all the different areas of my life, the to-dos that I have, at least at the bare minimum, 50% of them need to directly relate to, directly move me towards those ultimate results or goals. At the bare minimum, 50%. If you have more than 50% of your actions or to-dos that are not moving you towards your goals, then you really need to evaluate your time management plan. You really need to evaluate where your time and energy is being spent, and you really need to do a better job of eliminating, automating, or delegating specific tasks so that you really hit that 50% threshold. And mine is much higher than that. I haven't really evaluated it lately, but I have a much higher percentage of actions that are moving me towards my goals. So that's really number 2. Identify actions that will move you toward your goals. And then number 3, now we get into result orientation. And I'm going to actually give you an example of a task that's a simple to do that I've written down that I result orient. And I'm going to give you that example so you can see it rather than just being conceptual. But really, like I said earlier, when you result orient an action, that action becomes the compass. If the goal is the map, the action becomes the compass when it's been result oriented properly. So let's just take a look at an example from my own life. Right now I am working on a program that's going to teach people how to get fit, and specifically what my ultimate result is that I will create the program that empowers people to get fit and stay fit for the rest of their lives. And it's in the very beginning stages, but that is the ultimate result, right? That is the map, to create the program that will empower people to get fit and stay fit for the rest of their lives. So if that's the map, this is an action. I have a friend by the name of Kevin who is an expert. He's a personal trainer and he's an expert on nutrition. He's written a book on the subject. So an action that I have is to interview Kevin on nutrition. That's just how I wrote it out, because that's an action I need to accomplish. So as with all my other actions, the night before this day of work, I'm going to be looking at my actions, and this is going to be one of them that I'm going to result orient. So here's how I would result orient it to be the compass that reaches that map, that ultimate goal that I've just established. So here's the result oriented action. Have gleaned the most powerful, empowering info from Kevin on eating nutritiously. This action becomes a compass that course corrects me towards my ultimate goal of the empowering program that helps people to get fit and stay fit for life. Now that I've shown you this, some of you may be thinking, this is ridiculous, because I see a really simple action and now I've had to take the time to actually result orient this thing, and this is going to take forever, especially if I try to do this with all of my actions. And this is where the disconnect can happen, and this is why people don't reach goals more quickly, because they think that the time that it takes in order to result orient this action is not going to be subsidized by the time it takes to actually reach the goal. In other words, they think, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing that it takes time to result orient, so I'm going to save time by not doing this and reach my goal more quickly. And I want you to think about something. If every single action, that you had was result oriented, and that morning when you get up and you start working on these actions, and every one of them is pointed directly towards your goal, just think about how much more productive a day where you truly produce results, how much more productive that day would be. And this is how I live my life. I can tell you from personal experience that this has exponentially helped me to hit my goals, to move forward, to grow and become more than just about anything that I have done. And as far as the time it takes to do it, now this is something I've been doing for several years, but it takes me roughly 15 minutes a night to do this, and has saved me days, weeks, years on accomplishing goals more quickly. So if you're not completely sold on this, what I would like to ask you to do is just to consider to try it for a week, and take the time the night before, once you have your actions, result orient them. Even though it's going to be a weird muscle, I promise you it grows and becomes something you use faster over time. Result orient these actions for 1 week, for this week, and see how it turns out. And I guarantee you that if you do that, you'll never go back. And you'll continue to use this, you'll continue to hone it and get faster at it, and it will be a powerful, powerful tool you have in your tool belt. I really hope you make the decision to check this out this week. Whatever you do this week, my friend, let me remind you that this week is a gift. So do 2 things with it. Be both purposeful and productive. Thank you so much. Go get him this week, and we'll talk to you next Monday.